So I'm here today because you guys asked me on Instagram to do a review / discussion video about By Fate I Conquer by 𝐒𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐊𝐒 Riley. If you watch all of my Mafia or even all my review videos to do with 𝐒𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿, you know that the past couple of books, and especially the first 3 books in the Next Generation series, I have not enjoyed. Yeah, I wasn't actually planning on doing this video. And after the last book I read, which was Anna and Santino's book, I thought, no, I'm done. I'm not reviewing her books anymore unless I really like them. And I didn't have faith that I was going to like any of the new generation or the next gen books. But here I am, okay? Because By Fate I Conquer came out last week, bitch. Was it last week? Well, it was a few days ago. I read it within 12 hours. And yes, I have high expectations when it comes to 𝐒𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿 because I love Born in Blood and the 𝐒𝐒𝐿 Chronicles so much. You just have to have a look at my channel and know that those books are my heart and soul. I kind of just went into it thinking, okay, I'm not going to like it. It's not going to be what I want. But I'm going to read it anyway. And boy, was I wrong. I'm going to tell you guys all the things I fucking loved about this book, but also the things I didn't like, because I'm going to be real with you. Yes, I loved this book. I read it within a 12-hour sitting with a fucking newborn, and that's saying something. But there is things about this book that I didn't like, and also there's things that I want people to think about, okay? When it comes to this Next Generation series. And you know what? If you loved the book and you love all the other Next Gen books and you're offended by what I say, whatever. Like, everyone likes different things. I still love 𝐒𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿's writing and a lot of her stories. I just don't like them all. Let's just keep it real, keep it peaceful over here, baby, and let's just discuss this book. I'm sure you guys will actually agree with a lot of things that I'm going to point out and say, but yeah. Let's go. This book was the most anticipated book for me out of the entire series, even though I didn't enjoy the first 3 books in this series, even back before she started releasing and writing this series and announced that she was going to write it. This was the couple that I knew that I'd love. Just because how forbidden. Amo and Greta, this soft character, this soft female whose dad is Remo. Like, come on now. Let's talk about the things that I loved about this story. 1, 𝐒𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿's writing. I just love 𝐒𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿's writing. I always do. Even when it's a book that I don't like, there's just something so effortless and easy to consume when it comes to her writing. Like, you don't have to think about it. It plays like a movie. It's easy to remember. The second thing I absolutely loved about this story was the family dynamics and how many family scenes there were. I understand that 𝐒𝐂𝐈𝐍𝐿's trying to make this series its own type of thing. You know what I mean? Like, she wants people to discover this series on its own. So with the first 3 books, I felt like, okay, there wasn't a lot of emphasis around the family dynamics, which was a pity because as a massive fan of the Born in Blood and the 𝐒𝐒𝐿 Chronicles, I'm only here for the family, you know what I mean? So it was really good to see in this book the arguments, the explosiveness, the close relationship these characters have with their family members, and I could appreciate their family members being written the way that they were. For instance, Luca. I found that Luca was much more like Luca in this book with Amo, from his aggression to his outbursts, how he handled Amo, and just all of that compared to what he was like with Marcella in the first 2 books. When I read him in the first 2 books, I was like, what the actual fuck, bitch? This is pansy bullshit. This is pussy shit. Pussy shit. Who are you, Luca? You're another big badass mafia dude that I fell in love with in Bound by Honor. But in this one, I saw him, like, there was some brutality there, and I was like, yes. Also, the Kimura gang, all right? The Kimura family. Remo, Nino, fucking Nevio, you know, Serafina, Kiara, they were all there. I loved the scenes that, like, Nino had, the private scenes he had with Greta. I just loved how Remo was with Greta. He was exactly the way I thought he was going to be. I loved Nevio, and I'm actually quite excited for his book now that I have read a glimpse of his character, even though I do have some qualms when it comes to his character. So overall, I feel like I was satisfied with the family dynamics. I was able to enjoy Greta and Amo's relationship on its own, as well as enjoy the family dynamic and, like, you know, the nostalgia that brings me because I'm so in love and still love to this day the 𝐒𝐿 Chronicles, and the Born in Blood. I was a little nervous at the beginning, thinking that this book was going to fall into the same category as the first 3 books, just because there wasn't a lot happening. But then all of a sudden I felt like there was this outburst of just drama and conflict and like push and pull and like betrayal, and all these things start happening, and then it got my heart racing, and I was like, oh my god, this is good. This is what the last 3 books were missing. I also found that the tone of the book read like Twisted Emotions, like Twisted Pride, Sweet Temptation, like it read like old 𝐒𝐿. And a lot of you that have read it messaged me personally on Instagram and said this book reads like old 𝐒𝐿, like the tone of the book was on point. And again, I feel like that was missing in the first 3 books of this series. Makes me sad, man, because I feel like she probably should have released this book first because of the way that she wrote it and the tone of it, and then it would have just set the tone of the whole series. I loved the parents chapters, okay? I absolutely loved that. I also loved the ending of the book with Serafina. Spoiler alert, how she carries the twins for Greta and Amo, and I liked that at the end of the book, 𝐒𝐿 made a note that there will be a section in the kind of novella thing she's going to come out with for the 𝐒𝐿 family about this part of the story from Serafina's point of view. So we know that's coming, but I did like the ending of this book. I loved seeing all the like little side characters, all the other children. She definitely set up a lot of couples and a lot of future books within this book. I feel like a good chunk, like maybe 50-60% of the book was no sex at all, which I don't mind. But I wasn't there for the sex scenes. I was there to see these kids fall in love and see the reaction of their parents. Overall, I like the book, okay? There's not much really I can elaborate on, okay? I feel like she hit the home run with this one compared to the past books that she's been releasing, especially with the Next Generation series. But of course, there is some things that I didn't like, but I still rated it 4 stars. Let's discuss the things I didn't like. The insta-love, baby, it wasn't about it. I know that this book was going to be insta-love, love at first sight. That was kind of the trope of this book, but oh my god. I really was just like, oh, we're really just jumping into the I love yous real fucking quick. Pretty much the first thing that Greta and Amo say to each other, they're like, I'm in love with you. Okay. And it's just pretty much instant, which I knew going into this book that the insta love was going to be there, but I just didn't realize how much insta love there was going to be. And you know what? I'm just genuinely not a fan of insta love. So that's why I didn't really enjoy that part of the relationship between these 2 characters. Also, where the book starts off really shocked me, because I personally thought that, and maybe you guys would agree, that Amo and Greta would kind of see each other, get together and kind of start their romance, because Greta was going to go to New York to do ballet at Juilliard. That's what I thought was going to go down. Though that kind of part of the plot does happen to a certain extent. That's not where the book starts, and she's not like living in New York, which I thought was going to be where the book was going to start and where it was going to be set. Amo, right? Okay. The heroes in the Next Generation just cannot like compare to their dads. They just cannot. And the reason why they can't is because they didn't have the life experience and the childhood that their fathers had. So when I hear, like, in little snippets and previews and stuff on social media, that Amo is meant to be as brutal as Luca, I kind of laugh, because I'm like, that's not going to happen. And it reads like that, especially in the beginning, though he did gain some balls and became more like assertive and brutal towards the end. But I just feel like he didn't hold Greta accountable for her actions, because let's be real, he constantly put his life and his position in the mafia on the line for her, as well as his relationship with his father. And he just like forgave Greta so easy for that. And I'm like, you are literally putting your life on the line for this girl? And she's just like, sorry about it. I just don't want war. What? I don't like that he got married. And I was talking to the Book Refuge about this, because we always discuss 𝐒𝐿's books privately when we read them, and she hates that trope. When there's a relationship that shouldn't be happening and they end up getting married anyway, and then there's this unnecessary marriage and cheating in the book. Like, I don't mind cheating if there's substance to the cheating, but this was just unnecessary. And it's just like, why the fuck did you go through with marrying that bitch? Why? And that just shows me that he wasn't as brutal as I guess Cora would like us to believe, because he was a pansy and a pushover when it came to marrying that bitch. Greta in general, I did like her, though I felt her to be a little bit like, I'm not like other girls. Okay, and that's not the type of heroine I thought she was going to be, but she gave off those vibes. Okay, and the explanation behind her, I don't know, disability? Is that what you would call it? Like, what is it? Because, you know, Cora kind of made her sound like Nino to a certain degree, but also not at the same time. And it didn't really explain or add much to the plot, her being that way. That's what I think personally. I also find with this series, when I read these kids, I'm reading them like they're kids. And even though they're grown now, I guess it's just because I'm so connected to the parent series, like the 𝐒𝐂𝐈𝐊 and the Born in Blood. I just read these stories and I just think of them as young, and I can't like get all like hot and steamy for them. Does that make sense? Like, I can't be like, oh, Ammo. Like, I just cannot be like that. I'm thinking about his dad while I'm reading this bitch. And when Remo popped up, I'm like, oh, imagine Remo. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, I can't get the hots for these characters just because in my mind, they're still babies. Let's be really, 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 really real with ourselves. Take away the parents. It's just Ammo and Greta. Would this be a 4-star read if it was just Ammo and Greta and you weren't there for the parents, to see the parents, and you weren't there because you know the history, you have read both those series and you love them, would you be here? And would you rate this book as high as you have if it wasn't for them? I know I wouldn't, and I can admit that. I can admit this isn't the best Mafia book. I can admit that, like, yeah, the love was there and this was a really cute couple, but I wasn't diehard for them. And I can admit that I'm here because of the parents, and I want to see how their lives unfold with these children and how these children grow up and who they become. And I also feel that the like threat of war has been overdone because it's been used so much in the Born in Blood. It's been used so much in the 𝐒𝐒𝐈𝐊 Chronicles, and now it's getting used in the next gen. And I know it's against the grain, and I know it's against like romance rules, and I know that like so many people would hate it, and you can't typically do this in romance because it ruins the happily ever after of the previous couple in the previous book. But I feel like someone needs to die. Like, something needs to happen. Something dramatic needs to happen. The whole like, you know, threat of war and having war with like Chicago, New York, and Las Vegas constantly, it just ends up being ridiculous because it's like, haven't you guys been there, done that like 7 couples ago, like 20 years ago, and you're back here again with a new couple with your kids and you're doing it again, and why are you doing it again? Like, didn't you sort this out? Like, aren't you like becoming one now? You're breaking the truce? Why are you breaking the truce? Like, why is it that dramatic? Like, surely it doesn't need to be that dramatic. War breaks out. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like that's been overdone and I'm tired of that. So I would hope to see in the next books that war doesn't break out again. I feel bad because I'm like harping on the negatives of the book, but I know that's what you guys want to hear. I've come to the point with this series that I'm not holding high expectations whatsoever. I already know before I go into these books that the heroes are not going to do it for me, and I'm just there for the experience. They're not going to become my future book boyfriend. That's just a fact, and their dads still hold a place in my heart. When I go into these books from now on, I'm just going to take it with a grain of salt type of thing. But you're not going to see me get on camera and be like, oh my god, this is so fucking good, you need to read this right now, because I just feel like, personally, you need to read the other series to enjoy this series. You just do. Okay, you just do. And I'm actually interested in seeing Cora wrap this series up. As much as I love the Born in Blood and the 𝐒𝐒𝐈𝐊, I feel like it's coming to an end, and I don't know if you guys feel that. Again, like, the tone of her book was so amazing. It was right where I wanted her to be. I'm getting kind of bored of the characters in a sense. Even though I love seeing them together, I just want to see Cora do something different. I would love for her to do the Brat Bar. Like, I think that she should, and I think that she should kind of wrap up this series with one of the characters marrying into the Brat Bar or something. And me and the book Refuge, Jen, were talking about this too. She thought that's what Marcella's story might have been, but it ended up not being that, and I just think that is the direction she needs to go in. As much as I love the Kimura, I love the outfit, I love New York, like I love Luca, I love Remo, as much as I love them all, I'm kind of done with their books. Will I read the rest of the series? Absolutely. Will I do another review video? Probably not. I don't know, because like I don't really have much to say. Like, it was a good, solid 4-star read. There was things that I did like. There was things that I didn't like. Again, if you take away the family, would I enjoy it as much? Probably not. But did she write it correctly this time compared to Marcella and Anna? Yes, she did. Did she hit the nail on the head when it came to the tone of the book? Yes, she did. Did I believe in Emma and Greta's love even though it was insta love? Yeah, I did. Was I happy with the happily ever after? Yes, I was. But, you know, I'm not just like over here being like, oh my God, I can't live another day without rereading this about twice a year, like I am with Twisted Emotions and Twisted Pride and Bound by Honor. Also, I'm going to buy the paperbacks of this series, even though it's not my favorite, because I do have all Cora's books and I need to collect them all because I'm just that bitch. But I can't decide if I want the people on the cover or the discreet cover. I'm leaning towards the discreet covers. Let me know in the comments below your thoughts. Did you enjoy? Did you not enjoy? What's going on? How did you feel? Did you love it? Did you not? Let me know. And yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. It means the world to me. Thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And I'll see you in my next video. Bye.